What happens when a 12-year-old kid selling video games for $500 becomes the richest human being who has ever lived? This isn't just a story about money. This is about a man who literally rewrote the rules of reality, built empires from nothing, and in the process might have broken something fundamental about the world we live in. By the end of this video, you'll understand how Elon Musk didn't just become wealthy. He became dangerous. Picture this. It's 1984. Most kids your age are playing video games. But there's this weird 12-year-old in South Africa who's actually creating them. Elon Musk coded his first game called Blaster, a space shooter where you destroy alien ships. He sold it to a computer magazine for $500. That moment wasn't just his first business deal. It was the spark that would eventually reshape transportation, space travel, and human consciousness itself. But here's what nobody talks about. That money didn't come easy. Elon was a lonely, bullied kid who lived in his own mind. His parents had no idea what was happening inside his head. Sometimes he would just zone out completely, like he was disconnected from reality. Doctors thought he had hearing problems. What they didn't understand was that his brain was processing things most people couldn't even imagine. He was visualizing structures, ideas, entire worlds that didn't exist yet. Born in Pretoria, South Africa in 1971, Elon's childhood was anything but normal. His father was a strict mechanical engineer. His mother was an independent Canadian model. But when his parents divorced when he was 9, Elon made a choice that would haunt him. He decided to live with his father. Years later, he would call this decision a mistake. Living with his father was brutal, but it's where Elon discovered computers. At age 10, he saw his first computer in a mall and became obsessed. His father bought him a Commodore VIC-20 with 5 kilobytes of memory. It came with a programming workbook designed to take 6 months to complete. Elon finished it in 3 days. At 12, he created and sold Blaster. The flame had been lit. But Elon's real genius wasn't in making money. It was in seeing patterns nobody else could see. At school, he was an outcast. Bullies beat him so badly once that he was hospitalized. They broke his nose. But instead of breaking his spirit, violence taught him something crucial about power. He learned that the world belongs to those willing to endure more pain than everyone else. When Elon was 17, he found his escape route. Through his Canadian mother, he could claim citizenship and leave South Africa. In 1989, he moved to Canada alone. He worked on farms, cleaned boilers, shoveled dirt, anything to survive. This wasn't glamorous. This was desperation transformed into determination. At Queen's University, he met Justine Wilson, his future wife. After 2 years, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania, earning degrees in physics and economics. But Elon wasn't just studying. He was planning. He believed 3 things would change humanity's future: the internet, renewable energy, and space exploration. Most people thought he was crazy. In 1995, Elon and his brother Kimball moved to California with almost nothing. They launched Zip2, an online directory for newspapers and businesses. They couldn't afford an office, so they lived in their workspace. Elon coded all night. Kimball pitched during the day. They shared one computer. Elon slept on a beanbag when he wasn't programming. This is where you see the first glimpse of Elon's ruthless work ethic. Not just working hard, but working with an intensity that bordered on madness. Zip2 grew rapidly, attracting newspapers like the New York Times. In 1999, Compaq bought it for $37 million. Elon walked away with $22 million. He was 27 years old. Most people would retire. Elon doubled down. He invested $12 million of his Zip2 earnings into a new company called XCOM. The idea was revolutionary, a fully online bank with no physical branches. Remember, this was 1999. People didn't even trust buying things online with credit cards. Elon offered $20 to every new user who signed up. Within 2 months, XCOM had 200,000 users. But Elon wasn't alone in this space. Peter Thiel and his team were building PayPal. Both companies were burning through cash, competing against each other. The solution was a merger. XCOM and PayPal combined forces. Elon became CEO and the largest shareholder. Here's where things get interesting. Elon's management style was brutal. He demanded round-the-clock productivity. He publicly criticized underperformers. He insisted on rebranding everything as XCOM, but employees and users preferred PayPal. While Elon was on his honeymoon in September 2000, the board voted him out. Peter Thiel became CEO. But here's the genius move. Elon stayed on the board and remained the biggest shareholder. When eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion in 2002, Elon walked away with $180 million. He had learned a crucial lesson about power. Sometimes losing control means winning everything. Then tragedy struck. In 2002, Elon and Justine lost their first son, Nevada, to sudden infant death syndrome. He was 10 weeks old. Elon was devastated. He couldn't bear to return home. The empty crib, the silence, the overwhelming grief. As a child, he had drowned pain in books. Now he turned to work, burying himself in ideas that seemed impossible. This is where Elon's story takes a turn that nobody saw coming. In 2001, he visited NASA's website expecting to see bold plans for Mars exploration. There were none. No missions, no roadmap, nothing. At that moment, Elon made a decision that would change everything. If nobody else was going to get humanity to Mars, he would. He formed the Life to Mars Foundation and began the Mars Oasis project. The plan was to send a greenhouse to Mars, grow the first plant there, and stream it live back to Earth. But he needed rockets. He traveled to Russia to buy intercontinental ballistic missiles. He offered $20 million for 3 rockets. The Russians wanted $21 million for just one. Worse, they didn't take him seriously. On the flight home, while his team complained about the failed negotiations, Elon pulled out his laptop and started calculating. Then he turned to them and said something that sounded insane. "We'll build the rockets ourselves." He had realized something astonishing. Only 2 to 3% of a rocket's price was raw materials. The rest was inefficiency, bloated supply chains, and outdated manufacturing. And that's how SpaceX was born. Not from a business plan, but from pure anger at inefficiency. In 2002, Elon bought a 75,000 square foot warehouse and turned it into a rocket factory. He hired elite engineers from NASA and Boeing. His approach was radical. Build everything in-house, use cross-functional teams, and focus obsessively on cost control. Their first rocket was Falcon 1, designed to send 600 kilograms into orbit for just $7 million. Competitors charged $70 million for the same service, but building rockets is hard. The first launch in 2006 was a disaster. Falcon 1 exploded 25 seconds after liftoff. The team watched their dreams literally go up in smoke. They tried again in 2007. The rocket spun out and crashed. A third attempt in August 2008 also failed. 3 rockets, 3 failures, $100 million burned. They had money for one more launch. If it failed, SpaceX would collapse. Meanwhile, Elon was attacking another industry, automobiles. In 2004, he discovered Tesla Motors, a small startup founded by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. They wanted to build an electric sports car using lithium-ion batteries. Elon invested $6.5 million, becoming Tesla's chairman and later its CEO. The Tesla Roadster was supposed to revolutionize electric vehicles. 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, over 300-kilometer range, stunning design. But bringing it to life was a nightmare. Production costs exploded. Tesla expected to sell the Roadster for $65,000. By 2007, it cost over $100,000 to build. The math didn't work. Then 2008 happened. The global financial crisis hit. Investors fled. Funding dried up. Tesla was nearing bankruptcy. SpaceX had burned through its capital after 3 failed launches. Elon was nearly out of money. But instead of choosing to save one company, he made an impossible decision. He would save both. He sold his McLaren F1, mortgaged his properties, and invested everything into Tesla. At the same time, he personally oversaw SpaceX's 4th and final launch attempt. On September 28, 2008, Falcon 1 stood on the launch pad for what might be the last time. This was do or die. Stage 1 success, Stage 2 success, payload success. The control room erupted. For the first time in history, a private company had successfully launched a liquid-fueled rocket into Earth's orbit. Just weeks later, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. SpaceX hadn't just survived. It had arrived. But Tesla still wasn't safe. On Christmas Eve 2008, just days from bankruptcy, Tesla received a $40 million investment. It survived barely. By 2012, Tesla launched the Model S. This wasn't just an electric car. It was software on wheels, a 500-kilometer range, 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, and a 17-inch touchscreen dashboard. Motor Trend named it Car of the Year. Tesla's stock soared. Meanwhile, SpaceX launched the Falcon 9, capable of carrying 50 times more payload than Falcon 1. But the real revolution was reusability. In 2015, SpaceX landed its first rocket booster safely back on Earth. They had turned rockets from single-use tools into reusable machines. The cost of space travel plummeted overnight. Then came Starlink. Thousands of SpaceX satellites now orbit Earth, beaming high-speed internet to remote regions. From rural Africa to mountain cabins in Alaska, Starlink is connecting the unconnected. But Elon wasn't done. In 2016, he founded Neuralink, aiming to create brain-computer interfaces, chips surgically implanted in skulls that allow brains to communicate directly with machines. By 2024, a paralyzed patient used his mind to move a computer cursor. The future had arrived, 1 neuron at a time. He also launched the Boring Company to solve traffic through underground tunnels, and the Hyperloop concept for ultra-high-speed transport. Every project seemed impossible. Every project somehow worked. But here's where Elon's story gets dark. In October 2022, he bought Twitter for $44 billion and rebranded it as X. Within weeks, he fired over half the workforce and changed content policies. Critics called it reckless. Supporters called it revolutionary. By 2024, Elon's net worth surpassed $400 billion, making him the richest human in history. But with that wealth came something else, unprecedented power to manipulate markets and information. And this is where we need to talk about cryptocurrency. Crypto was designed with one fundamental principle: decentralization. No single person or entity should be able to control it. The entire point was to create money that couldn't be manipulated by the powerful. But Elon broke that promise with a single tweet. When Elon announced Tesla would accept Bitcoin, the price skyrocketed. When he said Tesla would stop accepting Bitcoin due to environmental concerns, it crashed. When he tweeted about Dogecoin, a joke cryptocurrency, it would surge by hundreds of percent overnight. Millions of people made and lost fortunes based on his social media posts. This wasn't just market influence, this was market manipulation on a scale never seen before. Elon had become exactly what cryptocurrency was designed to prevent: a central authority with the power to move billions of dollars with a few words. But it gets worse. Elon's manipulation of crypto markets revealed something terrifying about modern finance. If one person's tweets can move global markets this dramatically, then those markets aren't really free. They're controlled by whoever has the biggest megaphone. The crypto community was split. Some celebrated having such a powerful advocate. Others realized that their decentralized dream was dead. When Elon speaks, markets move. When markets move based on one person's words, that's not decentralization. That's something much more dangerous. And here's what's truly sinister about Elon's crypto manipulation. He doesn't just affect prices, he affects people's lives. When Dogecoin surged because of his tweets, ordinary people mortgaged their houses to buy it. When it crashed, those same people lost everything. Families were destroyed. Retirements were wiped out. Dreams were shattered. All because one man decided to play games with billions of people's money. But Elon's dark side goes deeper than crypto manipulation. His companies have been accused of brutal working conditions. Reports of extreme hours, sudden layoffs, and intense internal pressure have surfaced across Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter. Former employees describe a culture where questioning Elon's decisions leads to immediate termination. His political influence is equally concerning. By 2024, Elon had reportedly donated over $280 million, primarily to conservative candidates. His alignment with certain political figures has raised questions about the power billionaires wield over democratic processes. Then there's his control of information. Through X, formerly Twitter, Elon literally shapes global conversations. When he changes algorithms or moderation policies, he decides what billions of people see and don't see. That's not just business influence. That's information control on a scale that would make authoritarian governments jealous. Some call him a visionary, others call him a monopolistic threat. But here's what nobody disputes. Elon Musk has accumulated more wealth and power than any individual in human history. He controls space travel, electric vehicle infrastructure, satellite internet, social media discourse, and brain-computer interfaces. When one person controls that much of humanity's future, are we looking at innovation or domination? The truth is, Elon Musk represents something new in human history. He's not just a businessman or inventor, he's become a force of nature that reshapes reality through pure will and unlimited resources. He doesn't wait for the future. He builds it with his bare hands, regardless of who gets crushed in the process. His companies have revolutionized industries and pushed humanity forward in ways we never imagined. SpaceX made space travel affordable and routine. Tesla accelerated the transition to sustainable transport. Neuralink might cure paralysis and merge human intelligence with artificial intelligence, but these achievements came at a cost. Markets manipulated, workers exploited, democratic processes influenced, information controlled. The question isn't whether Elon Musk is brilliant. The question is whether humanity can survive having someone this powerful reshaping our world. Love him or hate him, you cannot ignore Elon Musk. He didn't just become the richest man on the planet. He became something far more dangerous. The first human being with the power to single-handedly determine our species' future. Every time he tweets, markets move. Every time he makes a decision, industries change. Every time he sets a goal, humanity's trajectory shifts. That's not wealth. That's godlike power in human hands. And maybe that's the real story here. Elon Musk didn't just accumulate money. He accumulated the power to rewrite reality itself. Whether that makes him humanity's greatest benefactor or its greatest threat might be the most important question of our time. The boy who sold video games for $500 grew up to become the most powerful human being who has ever lived. How he uses that power will determine not just his legacy, but humanity's destiny. Because when someone controls space, transportation, information, and potentially human consciousness itself, they don't just own companies, they own the future. And Elon Musk owns our future more completely than any emperor, president, or billionaire in history. That should terrify you. Because absolute power doesn't just corrupt absolutely, it reshapes everything absolutely. And right now, one man is reshaping everything. This is just one piece of the bigger picture. Subscribe if you want to understand the full context and how to better protect yourself in uncertain times. And the video on screen takes this story one step further.